This isn't my first electric board review, however this will be the first time where I talk about every mile transportation instead of last mile transportation. So hereby my review of the Verreal RS Pro. I've become quite addicted to this category of tech. It's become a fun way for me to get to my study and back alongside the occasional night ride just for fun. This time, however, it's in a more mid-range category. If you don't have the time to watch the entire video, here's a too long didn't watch. The RS Pro is heaps and miles better than the budget sector I started out in, and for double the price I suppose that's to be expected. But from just looking at the board, it seems like it also takes a lot of market share away from Evolve, having nearly the same parts. Although I can't say too much about the overall feel and construction, as I don't have an Evolve to compare it to, it does surprise me then that the RS Pro has relatively little publicity. It took me a good couple of weeks before I found it, and at first I was looking at a B1 Bellrog. Only after watching a lot of review videos did I land on the website, which does look a little sketchy. The spec sheet basically resembles a Word document, which pales in comparison to the likes of Meepo and Evolve's polished designs. But that's totally not an issue in my opinion, because they just make damn good boards. I didn't get the rated range, that's mostly due to me riding in speed mode 4 and full throttling it every time. If speed is a concern, I can confidently say that it's not an issue on this board. The only complaint I have is quality control, and in my range test I did experience some minor gust accelerations. Overall though, I definitely recommend it. I ordered mine from a German warehouse, so I didn't have to deal with shipping it from China. It arrived in 4 days, packaging was functional, no fancy colours on the box, which I really appreciate. Inside you get the board, which is fully assembled, however do check the nuts because one of my wheels was practically completely loose, and this could have resulted in a rather unpleasant crash. Comes with a pretty slow 2.5 amp charger, skateboard tool, remote and some paperwork. Initially I was a bit concerned about the ground clearance. On the pictures it looks like the board would constantly get stuck on ledges, but to my surprise it's actually a little higher up than my Meepo board due to the fact that the battery is more spread out over the entire deck. Other than this though, I really wish I had the option between the flower design instead of the black grip tape. I generally feel it gives it more character, but I can understand if somebody else feels different about it. The range, battery and charging time. It's nice to see a 12S 3P battery using 21700 cells that comes in at a rather large 666 watt hours, so you can definitely not take this on a plane. Unsure if anybody really would think of that, but I thought I'd mention it. This is subsequently also the only big difference I can find between the Pro and the non-Pro models. The range test for this board was quite a taxing thing to do, so if you appreciate the time I put into this, please consider subscribing. It takes me a lot of time to make these videos alongside other people's time with helping me film. In this case, a good friend of mine, Yannick, who helped me capture some of the footage. I'm linking his channel down below as well. During the range test, I hit a top speed of 55.9 kilometers an hour, which is quite gnarly on double kingpins. The rest of the test I was going an average of 26 kilometers an hour, and in total I was able to ride for 37 kilometers, which is quite a way off from the advertised 50 kilometers. Especially on street wheels, but in all fairness I was in speed mode 4 and accelerating at full throttle nearly all the time. My weight during the range test was 85 kilograms, this is including clothing and a backpack. The board stops accelerating when you hit 10%, which I don't like. I'd rather have it slow down to 25 kilometers an hour at 20%, so I actually know that it's time to go home. This was only an issue during the range test though. In normal day-to-day use, I find it nearly impossible to kill the battery. When you hit 10%, the acceleration stops, but you're still able to brake, which is good. As I said before, the board comes with a 2.5 amp charger, so it takes a good 7 hours to go from 10% to full. On their site they do sell a 4 amp fast charger. I really doubt anybody needs this. If you're able to ride for 40 kilometers, you're most likely not riding for the following 7 hours. I usually charge it overnight. With the custom Hobbywing ESC, the board has a responsive feel, but not twitchy, which was a big issue on my Meepo board, which I just reviewed. It gives me repeatable and reliable braking or acceleration force, which is quite essential in my opinion. The remote that accompanies this ESC is also very nice. It's the standard Hobbywing model, has some heft to it, feels very sturdy, and unlike others, it does come with USB-C, which is something I really appreciate. I absolutely hate micro USB. If you feel I'm providing you with useful information, please consider subscribing or liking the video. It takes me the better part of a day to write these scripts and multiple days to film and edit. It's a lot of work to do next to my study and my job, and although I do enjoy it, I'd be absolutely thrilled if sometime in the future I could make this an actual side gig. Top speed and motor power. Here's the thing, I don't really enjoy going fast on my RS Pro. It's far more enjoyable to do some carving. In the specs it's listed as unrestricted, which I can confirm, and it's safe to say that the top speed on this board is not an issue, except for the fact that going this fast on double kingpins is no joke, not fun. Alongside the awesome motor power, the sound it makes when it screams you into 40 kph is very enjoyable. The board does turn heads though. I'm not sure if this is because of the noise or maybe just the way I look. Some person dressed in black zooming past would probably intrigue me as well. However, here in the Netherlands that's not such a good thing. I like to think I'm inspiring the young people of the Netherlands. Maybe one day they'll finally catch up with the rest of the world and make these things legal. But if you are in need of something that doesn't capture quite as much attention, I suggest getting something with hub motors. People don't seem to notice those as much. Here's a comparison between my Meepo V4 and the belt drive on the RS Pro. Deck and dimensions. The deck comes in at 93 cm by 24 cm wide. This should be comparable to my Meepo, however when the boards are hanging next to each other it's considerably longer due to the belt drive system sticking out the back and the truck sticking out the front. It doesn't have much flex due to the metallic battery compartment, but it does handle brick roads and potholes quite nicely. The carryability is definitely a little less comfortable due to the larger size and heavier build. The deck doesn't stick out past the wheels, so it's impossible to stand upright unless you rest it on the hub motors. I usually just lie it down on the ground somewhere. If you're travelling by train and want to use this for last mile transportation, I urge you to consider something else. It's not fun to carry for any amount of time. Wheels. I went for the standard 90mm wheel option, but you can order the board in many different configurations like glow wheels, cloud wheels and all-terrains. Trucks. Double kingpins are my preferred riding style. Although they might result in some speed wobble, they spring back so nicely while carving, it's just a joy to ride this device at a cruising speed of around 30 kph. They have quite a wide wheelbase which does impact the turning radius a little. Riding through cityscapes is doable, but U-turns on a bike path would be more of an issue. Waterproof rating. The RS Pro doesn't list any water resistance, however it does have a rubber gasket around the battery compartment. I assume that this is mostly for dust. I have ridden on wet roads, but after my experience with the Meepo, generally stay out of the rain. What does this all translate into? Well, like I said, it's fun. In good conditions the board sticks to the asphalt like a Formula 1 car, and it springs back very nicely, resulting in a fun carve where you feel in control. Smooth acceleration helps with this a lot. I've never had an instance where I gas it a little too hard and lose my balance because of it, which I do experience with different ESCs. Braking is also a joy, mostly due to the belt drive system. It's strong when you need it to be. Even though I did experience some ghost accelerations, and I am a little disappointed that it wasn't properly checked before shipping, so I do have to take a point off for that, but at the price that I paid for it, it's above most of the other offerings on the market, so this one gets a 9 out of 10 from me.